I played Borderlands 4 early and well, I liked it, but let me start with a big thanks to 2K for sponsoring this video and literally asking for my honest thoughts on this. I'll start with some positives, then I'll dive into the negatives, all of which I was able to directly tell the developers immediately after completing my play session. So they know and they say that they're working on things. Now I played Vex first, but I was stuck using an Xbox controller. I'm not really familiar or comfortable using those. I'm not used to having a D-pad below my left thumbstick. I'm used to having it above my left thumbstick. So it's important for you to know that some of this early gameplay is me just fumbling on the controller trying to figure things out. And the location of that D-pad is really important for one of my negatives for later. Now, eventually they did bring me a PlayStation controller. They didn't have to do that, and I didn't really ask for that, but I'm glad that they did, and that made a world of difference for me. So big shout out to the folks at 2K who went out of their way to not only find a PlayStation controller for me to use and then plugged it in so I actually could use it. Now, let me just say, Vex is fun, and the gameplay is so much fun that I literally forgot to use my action skill for a good chunk of my footage at the beginning. I'll have a separate video about both her and Rafa's skill trees and potential synergies that I think could be amazing coming up. Now, next, the movement felt amazing. Gliding is smooth and it becomes second nature extremely fast. Grappling is great, but it did take me a little bit longer to adapt to because that's stuck on my melee key. So I'm used to only pushing melee when I want to punch an enemy in the face. It takes a little while for you to kind of get the feel of like, oh, okay, I can grapple that. And then you know, it just becomes second nature as well. You can also grapple some objects in the surroundings and then throw them at enemies. I nailed a double kill with this one and it felt amazing. I got to swim a couple times. I didn't see any options to dive underwater, so I don't think there'll be any like underwater exploration, maybe in a future game or something, but it is nice to like be able to touch water and not just instantly die. Also, I didn't see any negative effects to swimming other than you can't shoot and you're largely defenseless, but I did notice that if you jump up out of the water, you pull out your gun. You can also grapple directly out of the water, so that's beneficial too. Now, later on in my gameplay, I found a throwing knife and I fell in love. Hitting a lesser mob in the head with a throwing knife almost always led to a kill, and it reminded me a lot of the Borderlands 2 fastball grenade. It rewards you for being accurate, and the punishment for missing it is the cooldown on your ordnance. It's a fair and fun balance in my opinion, and more about ordnance in just a moment. The mission flow felt good. I finished the story mission, I killed the boss, I had some great dialogue that fans of Borderlands 2's humor will like probably. It's enjoyable basic mini boss type stuff. Rest assured, I actually encountered this boss again as a random world boss it seems, so here's his footage of that. As far as the open world goes, there was plenty to see and do. Exploration is literally rewarding as you're gonna find vault symbols. Yes, those are back, echo logs, and other interesting things. I encountered a mission where I was beamed up into a spaceship and I was instructed to essentially just break everything, but this was also inside of an area where enemies were tougher than expected, so I died without successfully completing the challenge. Echo 4 is a nice way to just pull up a direct path for the current mission or objective. I'm not a big fan of like just saying draw me a line to where I need to go, but at the same time I can appreciate that that will be extremely helpful for a lot of people, because with this being open world, it's going to be easy to get off your beaten path and then be like, oh crap, where am I supposed to go? The customization is deep. You can customize your vault hunter with multiple body types. Again, so far there's only 2 it looks like at launch. There are loads of head options to choose from, lots of skins. You can even customize the look of your Echo 4. SDUs are purchased on the menu, and you use whatever this currency is right here in order to level these up. There's pros and cons to this system, but it does keep you from abusing the lost loot machine from a previous playthrough to just buy all the upgrades on a new character. Speaking of lost loot, the lost loot machine is returning, and that's a positive thing. With the skill trees being deeper than ever, I think it would benefit the game massively to let players respec for free from anywhere. Now, time really got away from me, which is a good sign for the fun factor of the gameplay. My time in each section just absolutely flew by. Now, ordnance is grenades or launchers / heavy style weapons. It's one or the other, never both simultaneously. Now, I'm kind of like on the fence about this, but I'm not really a launchers or grenade kind of player, so for me it's good either way, and I love throwing knives. I have a feeling that some people will love this change and others will hate it. Now, the group of people that I played with was pretty unconcerned about the change. Most of them actually liked it once they got used to it, but no more launchers, only allegiance, not without being super slow and painful. There is a cooldown anytime you use up your ordnance, so keep that in mind. I think it's like 20 seconds between being able to use ordnance again, so that's going to make doing a launcher only playthrough really slow. Some other positives real quick: the item synergy in this game is going to be crazy fun. I actually like the heads up display that's on the main screen. However, I'm not a big fan of the inventory menu. Having the XP bar go around your level is nice, and it takes up a lot less of the screen. We're definitely in cutscenes wearing whatever we've put on our character, so that's a nice addition as well. It feels like you're part of the story this way. And once again, just like in previous games, anytime you level up, you get a damage bonus for a short time, so that's nice. Now for the negatives. And listen, we were on a build that was already nearly a month old. Some of my issues might have already been addressed by the time this video goes live, but it's important that the developers also hear from you guys about your concerns. So if anything that I say or show you here is of concern to you, then please speak up. Leave a comment here, tag Gearbox on Twitter, but please always be respectful in your critiques and give them actionable feedback. Saying I hate blah 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 is pointless. Say you can improve blah 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 by tweaking XYZ or something like that, you know what I mean? As an example, I'm not a big fan of the compass, as you guys might have heard. Overlapping information is too cluttered and it's too small at the top of your screen to be valuable in high-paced combat, so that's pointless to me. A solution would be simply adding the option for a mini map that players can toggle on if they want it, or toggle it off if you don't want it. In heavy combat, I shot non-player characters and I had trouble identifying enemies quickly. The fog of war is real, and the compass is little to no help in combat. If anything, it's demonstrably worse for combat in every conceivable way. This isn't just my take on this, by the way. Literally every creator there that I talked to said the exact same thing after their play session. Some of them even came to me and said, dude, you're right, not having a mini map is rough. Randy Pitchford had said, play the game, not the mini map, but while trying to follow mission objectives using the compass, I found myself just playing the compass several times, trying to stay headed in the right direction. I ran into obstacles because I was trying to make sure I kept the compass pointed in the right direction. Now, you can mitigate some of that by using the Echo 4 and it'll give you like a path, but then you're playing look at the line on the ground and it's holding your hand. If you think gamers hated having yellow paint on ledges or ladders, wait till they complain about this totally optional thing. I like Echo 4. I see the value of that system. I'm just saying some people get mad about the dumbest stuff. I also found the compass actually marred my experience with navigating elevations as well. In the story mission we were on, I genuinely could not tell what way I was supposed to be going because the compass is a jumbled mess of overlapping information. At best, it just tells you if you're going in the straight line toward something. But if you're in a building which has hallways and twists and turns, the compass is very unhelpful. A smaller complaint, but one that kind of blows my mind, is they don't appear to have the auto sell rarities option in the settings. But there's a ton of settings, so it's entirely possible that I just missed it. They do, however, have pick up as trash, but that literally just picks up the item and marks it with the trash can icon, which allows you to then go to a vending machine and sell it. Why they didn't keep the auto sell rarities feature from Borderlands 3 that they added 6 years into the lifespan of the game is as baffling as the minimap stuff, frankly. It literally makes no sense to me to not include it, but again, this is an early build. It's possible that it's in the final release. God, I hope so. Speaking of removed features, no photo mode on the version that we played. Now, this one's extremely baffling. Photo mode is wildly popular with the Borderlands community so that they can see their character in their gear in various maps and locations. It was there at the launch of Borderlands 3, and it's possible that they'll have it by launch of Borderlands 4, but on this build, it was not in there. Something they absolutely have to address is how long it takes to respawn on death. You spend 7 seconds in the dying animation while Echo 4 looks over your dead body, then almost 6 seconds in the warp tunnel, and then another 7 seconds showing the animation of respawning. That's right, I read all that in the time it took me to respawn. Trying to use the rep kit with a controller is a little bit tricky, especially a controller that you don't like, so I constantly hit down on the D-pad when I needed to use a rep kit, which is left on the D-pad. You can adjust all these button layouts, but ultimately something has to go on the D-pad, and I'm not a fan of potentially dying because I accidentally swapped firing modes on my gun instead of healing. Here's some quick negatives to add into the other things. The modifiers system is kind of back in a way. Some of the badass enemies will have a feature on them that will show like a modifier beneath their name, and I count 24 modifiers at this point, and only one of them is remotely positive, and that's the experienced modifier, which appears to give you more XP when you kill that enemy, but I could be wrong about that. We need more time with the game to be sure. Ultimately, the positives for me far outweigh the negatives, but the negatives are things that should be addressed as soon as possible because they are substantial and potentially harmful for the overall sentiment of the community towards the game. Once you dive in and play, it's a ton of fun. My initial gut reaction, however, is of mild concern, and I hope that my concern doesn't fall on deaf ears. It can't be stated loudly enough that the removal of the minimap is absolutely detrimental to the overall experience. This isn't about me being right about the minimap. This is about Gearbox taking away a feature that is extremely valuable for combat and knowing your immediate surroundings and replacing it with a compass system that has too much information, often overlapping one another, never giving any indication of the enemies that just spawned in behind you. Sure, if you have quality headphones, maybe you can hear those spawns, but what about those people with hearing disabilities? So I enjoyed what I played. I didn't get to play anywhere near enough to have a solid opinion about the game, and I didn't have enough time to explore the openness of the world to my satisfaction. However, I still had fun, and I think that's important. We all had the opportunity to do co-op on this build as well. I want to let people know why there's no co-op footage. We had the opportunity to do co-op, but we weren't allowed to actually capture co-op gameplay, so most of us opted out of that in favor of obtaining as much footage as possible so we could share that with you guys. Speaking of footage, I want to thank Moxie, Jolts Dude, Birdman, Lil Gas Mask, Eruption Fang, Legacy Gaming, and Rest Assured for all teaming up to pool their footage with mine so we can give you guys the best range of footage possible given the limitations on time that we had. I linked all their channels in the video description below, so make sure you subscribe to them on YouTube. Just a few developmental tweaks. It's possible to fix these issues, and I hope that they make this the absolute best Borderlands game that we've ever had. You can now pre-order Borderlands 4 using the link in the video description below. Big thanks again to 2K for flying me out and to the Gearbox team for taking time to allow us to ask them questions and raise concerns to them directly right there on site. If you enjoyed this video, then hit subscribe. I cover all things Borderlands. You can expect a ton of Borderlands 4 content on here in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.